Hello there. I'm going to do a quick little review, personal opinion style of the Southwire digital multimeter. This is the 16020N, and I'm just going to kind of give you my thoughts and what I think about it. So it's a more basic meter. Honestly, looking at this, if I was to typically see this in the package, I probably wouldn't have bought it. I am an electrician. I've been doing electrical work for 11 years now, I believe. And this is just something that I would write off as a household hobbyist kind of meter. But Southwire sent me this one to review, and when I opened it up, I was pleasantly surprised. I started looking at it, and it just feels rugged. You know, not unlike what I would consider a high quality flute meter. It feels solid, and of course it's got the rubberish feel, but it's not like real. It's one piece. It's not an overmold like a lot of the flukes have an overmold that will come off. This is a one piece, but it feels solid. I'm not a fan of permanently connected leads. I like the detachable because eventually your leads get burned up because of you or an apprentice, or they just wear out over time or get bent, little things, and I like to replace them. But for the price point of this meter, really it's probably not a bad idea, because if this gets burnt, you're probably just going to chunk the whole thing, go get a new one. The leads themselves, not bad. They're on the smaller side, but functional. They do have some interesting probes. They get down pretty precise. They're by no means a needle point, but they're pretty good for your standard meter. And of course, they have the shield that can be removed for checking outlets and stuff like that. Functions, of course you can get all that online on the specs, but the non-contact voltage detector built in, you just have it turned on in a mode, and you get it close to power in this area, and it'll light up across here red. I haven't seen that it makes noise with that. If it does, I haven't got it turned on. I don't know that I'd ever use that. I don't use non-contact voltage detectors much because I like to be more certain when I'm dealing with electricity. I use them just a touch here and there. It's got a flashlight. Most flashlights on meters I consider gimmicks. This one's not that bad. We're in a fairly well lit room, and maybe I'll show you that here. Got the 4 15-watt disc lights in a 12 by 12 room, and that's the spot of light it puts on the wall from about 18 inches. There's a receptacle to compare kind of the size, so it's not a real big flood. It's kind of a little bit more of a spot. If you're working up close to a receptacle, it's not gonna be super bright, but it does kind of have an outer ring there of floodlight, it looks like. Hey, let's try it in the dark. Okay, so all other lights off. This is only the Southwire multimeter, and you can see there it's got a good strong spot in the middle. I'm about 3 foot away from the wall right now. There's also this outer glow that you can't see all at once that really helps brighten up the area. I moved back about 5 foot. It's really quite impressive. Now, as I move closer to check a voltage, it's not as awesome, because when you get close, you have a hot spot of light and you can't hardly see it. Now, if you're doing it two-handed, no problem. I can hold this back here. Of course, I've got a backlight I say I got a backlight if I know how to turn it on. Hold the button. Hold the button for the backlight. Now it's an instructional video. So if I'm back here, I could easily check voltage, wall seeing what I'm doing. Not one-handed with the light hardly. I guess you can, but the light's pretty chaotic with one hand. So there's darkroom. Other things about this meter that impress me is the function set. This little guy packs a whop. We've got microamps, milliamps, voltage, all in DC or AC. It will also measure frequency and duty cycle. And then in the continuity, we've got ohms, diode checking, capacitance, and continuity. Of course, the screen, when I was on the light, it is a backlit screen. So yeah, really, this is not something I'd normally be interested in, but I actually think I'm going to put it in my bag and try it out for a little while, because it's just so handy. You know, of course it can't replace my amp clamp, right? It's kind of a staple if your electrician is having some sort of an amp clamp, but it just in general, this does a lot. You know, it's a whole lot handier than this guy, which this is probably not the meter you're carrying around just for your little service calls, but it's one that we keep on our trucks. This definitely, you know, palm of your hand multimeter. You could easily test a plug one-handed. You get set up and you could go checking plugs even with the flashlight on. I could definitely see it being handy. Maybe I'll do another review a little bit down the road after I've towed it around and dropped it and, you know, scratched it up for a while, see how it holds up. But I did do a voltage check because it was convenient. And we have this one read 124.4 volts AC to an outlet, and the Fluke 279 FC read 124.3. So, you know, very close on that. I'd be interested to see how the continuity measures out and test, and the micro and milliamps, and maybe that'll be another video. I've got some benchtop power supplies and DC loads that I could do that. Unfortunately, I just don't have that time right now. I want to make sure and get something out there for this. But overall, as you know, a guy that normally prefers these and would normally walk right past these, I'm impressed. I'm very curious. I'm definitely going to give it a try. So hopefully I'll get to make another video later and let you know how it goes. But just out of the box first impressions and measuring and use, I like it. Thank y'all. Have a good one.